What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and the moment we've all been waiting for a very long time is finally here. The dark secrets of the mysterious one-for-all Quirk have just been revealed to Deku, and we finally know why All Might deliberately chose to hide information about the fourth one-for-all user from Deku. As it turns out, One for All has serious consequences for its users, and Deku might end up being the very last user of One for All. This was a crazy chapter, so much important information was revealed, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero content on this channel and you want us to keep it going, do me a favor, leave a like and comment. And if you are new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. The only way to make sure that you will actually see my future videos and that you won't miss them is to take the time to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then select the option that says all. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Finally, this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution, you have been warned. The new chapter starts off with the still unconscious Deku wondering what happened to everyone after the big battle in Jakku. But rather than waking up, Deku finds himself once again inside that mysterious vestige world. There, all of the previous users of One for All are waiting for him, and Daigoro Banjo explains that before Deku wakes up, they have to talk to him about something important. Actually, I shouldn't say all of the previous One for All users are waiting for Deku. Two of them are just chilling in the back and they're facing away from Deku and towards the wall. These are the second and third users of One for All, and I'm sure that this is supposed to be symbolic of the fact that we still don't know anything about them and that they are still a mystery to us. But to be honest, to me, it just looks like those two are in the process of taking a leak. Am I the only one who thinks they look like they're taking a leak? Anyway, the first user of One for All explains that in the past, the former users could only interact with Deku when he was severely mentally shaken. But in the past 4 months, the power of One for All has been growing exponentially, and this has enabled the former users to communicate more effectively with each other and with Deku. It also seems that All for One's infiltration into the vestige world during the Battle of Jakku has made it easier for the former users to get in touch with Deku. Deku's own manifestation inside the vestige world is still incomplete, and in particular, he still doesn't have a mouth. However, it seems that his voice is slowly manifesting itself within this realm, and he is now able to make some noises, although his words are still muffled. We then see that mysterious fourth user of One for All, the one with the mark on his face that makes him look like a character from Mashal, and the one whose information was partially scribbled out by All Might. The fourth user explains that his name is Shinomori Hagake, and that he will be doing the talking this time around. The latest quirk that Deku was able to manifest, Danger Sense, used to belong to Shinomori. Back when he was still alive, the fourth user of One for All was somewhat of a hermit who lived in the woods far away from society. Shinomori explains that it was a turbulent time, and so for him living the life of a hermit wasn't weird at all under the circumstances. In fact, everyone who didn't choose that lifestyle was kind of weird as far as Shinomori was concerned. The fourth user then explains that he died at the age of 40 and that his cause of death was old age. That is the missing piece of information that All Might chose to hide from Deku. Shinomori, the fourth user of One for All, died of old age when he was only 40 years old. And the reason why he died of old age while he was still so young is One for All itself. Deku is confused when he hears this, but Shinomori explains that he held One for All for a long time, about 18 years. And in the final year of his life, the quirk simply broke his body. One for All may be an incredibly overpowered quirk that makes its user very strong, but it has one extremely dangerous side effect. It appears to slowly but surely burn away the life force of its own holders. Deku is shocked to hear this, and he is understandably concerned. But then he asks an important question. If One for All really does have this side effect, then how was All Might able to use it way longer than Shinomori without dying of old age? At first, the formal holders didn't even know the answer to this themselves, and during this conversation, the first holder, All For One's brother, reveals that he himself died in battle not long after gaining the power of One For All, so even though he was the first user, he wasn't exactly an expert on how One For All worked. However, once they all put their heads together inside the Vestige world, the former users eventually arrived at the answer. The thing that made All Might different from all the other previous users, and the thing that allowed him to use One For All for so long without destroying his body, is the simple fact that All Might was quirkless. Those who are born with a quirk already have their metaphorical cup full. And so adding One For All, an additional quirk, to that cup makes the cup spill over. This is what happened to Shinomori. Having one quirk and then adding One For All on top of it was too much for his body to handle. So his body simply burned out under the pressure of so much quirk power. But because All Might was born quirkless, his body simply recognized One For All as his true quirk, and so his body wasn't overloaded by it. As it turns out, despite the fact that they are often looked down upon in society, those individuals who are born quirkless are the ones who have the most potential when inheriting the power of One For All. This means that Deku is safe for the time being. As a quirkless individual himself, he should be able to handle One For All for a long period of time without burning out, just like All Might was able to do. Unless the One For All quirk keeps changing, as it seems to be doing, and those changes eventually put Deku at risk at some point in the future. We have to be open to that possibility as well, because One For All has been evolving and growing exponentially. We just learned that in this chapter. So you never know what the long-term consequences of that evolution might be. Deku is safe for now, but that may change in the future if the growth of One For All spirals out of control. At any rate, the former holders of One For All have arrived at an important conclusion. From now on, they cannot risk passing One For All on to someone who already possesses a quirk ever again. From now on, One For All must only be passed down to individuals who were born quirkless. But with every new generation, the number of quirkless people continues to decrease. This means that Deku could be the very last successor of One For All. By the time that Deku is ready to pass the quirk on to someone else, there may not be any eligible candidates left, and this might be the end of One For All. After this shocking twist that leaves Deku reeling, Nana Shimura steps up and lays a very heavy burden right on Deku's shoulders. She asks Deku whether he is able to kill Tomura Shigaraki for her. And that is how this crazy info-packed chapter ends. Wow, this is big. We just learned that One For All has been slowly killing its own users all the way up to the time that All Might inherited the quirk. As the first quirkless inheritor, he was able to use the quirk for a long time, and he was able to become strong enough to stand up to All For One. And since Deku was also born quirkless, he definitely has the potential to become as strong as All Might. But we have to acknowledge the important implications of these huge revelations on Deku and on the wider story. Not only does this mean that Deku might be the very last One For All user and that the quirk may one day die with him, but this also means that if the quirk continues to change and evolve exponentially as it has been doing in recent months, then eventually even Deku's quirkless body may begin to burn out under the strain of One For All. Don't forget that this quirk is still getting stronger and it is still growing and expanding. So we can't just assume that Deku will be 100% safe from the negative effects of One For All just because he didn't have a quirk before he inherited this quirk. He is safe for now, but that could change. Now, a big question that I am asking myself after this chapter is why were the other two One For All users, the second and third user, just standing in the back and taking a leak? Why don't they feel the need to communicate with Deku as everyone else seems to feel? Or is it that they can't communicate with him for some reason? These were the two users of One For All who came right after All For One's brothers. So who were they and why are they hiding their faces? Is it possible that while they were alive, they did some shady stuff and because of that, they are hiding their identities? Or are they hiding from Deku because he is not ready to meet them and learn about their quirks? Like, maybe these guys had really powerful quirks that Deku can't handle yet, and so they can't communicate with him until he is ready. Or, you know, maybe they were just taking a leak. I also thought that it was interesting that All Might's consciousness, or at least some fragment of it, is also present in that vestige world, even though All Might is still alive, and even though he never had a quirk. This suggests that the consciousnesses themselves are not directly tied to the user's original quirk factor, and so they must arise either from One For All itself, or from All For One, who was of course instrumental in creating One For All in the first place. I am very curious to find out more about the true nature of the vestiges and how these consciousnesses are able to survive even after the death of the individuals they belong to. And I am sure that the answer to this question will also be relevant to All For One becoming an uninvited guest in Shigaraki's body. Finally, what did you guys think about Nana's question? Does she really want Deku to kill her own grandson? Does she really believe that Shigaraki is completely beyond saving? And if she does, do you think that Deku would actually be able to straight up kill someone, even if that person is a villain? Or is that maybe a line that Deku would simply not cross, even if that means allowing Shigaraki to continue hurting innocent people? Definitely let me know what you guys think about these important questions down in the comments below. This was a great chapter, and I always love learning more about the mysterious nature of One For All. We did learn a lot in this chapter, but at the same time, there is still a lot that we don't know about One For All. I'm sure we're gonna find out even more about it in the future, including more about those two mysterious One For All users who are hiding their faces. And personally, I am very excited for that time to come. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more Boku no Hero content here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, it really does help. And if you are new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Don't forget that you really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting the bell, and then clicking that option that says all. If you don't do that, you're gonna miss a ton of our videos in the future. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. A big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma, disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, The World, A Quiet Respect, Pate Heffa, Liam Thompson, Aljatal, Dr. Courtman, Johnny Boy Draws, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tanel, Baked Buddhist, and Tungsten Tarkus. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazatsky, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Jessica Calafond, Rathuin Deora, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, The Red-Haired Raven, Joanne Garcia, Jack Watches Anime, Fatboy Games, Ted No Ted, Deadly Saint, Matthew Cruz, and Anthony Schreiber. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.